SB 63, and it's Alternative Energy for Schools grant program. It takes the existing Wind for Schools grant program and expands it to include any renewable energy. But right now it's sitting in appropriations waiting to get funded because it is a grant program. So if you're having any conversations today and you want to talk about the importance of a grant program that would allow schools to install renewable energy, it does a couple of things, right? It exposes more people to renewable energies, and it gets our kids studying renewable energies, which I think is a real value of the bill, to make renewable energy installation, the business of renewable energy, the benefits of alternative and renewable energy as part of our school dialogue.
I've got a bill that's in the hopper right now that I plan on introducing here pretty soon, dealing with climate change. You probably know, since I think many of you have been here before on some of these events, that for each bill, we have to do, or the staff here has to do, a fiscal analysis of the impact of the bill. And the fiscal analysis deals with the government expenditures or government expenditures that don't happen as a result of the bill. So if you put a bill in place, this government agency has to spend a little bit more money, or a lot more money in this case, or not. And so what this bill that I'm going to introduce here pretty soon does is it takes into account for energy-related measures, and it's going to be some kind of wording along the lines of major energy-related measures, like with power plants and so forth, to take into account the social cost of carbon. And we all know what that is. The social cost of carbon means it's the cost of burning carbon. What does it do to our planet? What does it do to our economy by burning carbon? We can't do it for free. We burn coal, it causes consequences. It causes the climate to change. It causes an increase in the number of natural disasters. It causes air and health problems, which causes the state and the economy money. And so what I want to do is I want to make sure that we have that conversation down here when we introduce bills about increasing renewable energy, or, like we've seen this year, reducing renewable energy. If you reduce renewable energy, then your social cost of carbon is going to go up. And we don't have that conversation right now here at the Capitol, and we need to, because it's a reality.
This year I'm running a bill that will actually allow for renewable energy firms to, if they're unable to use the tax credits that they're already entitled to, because they haven't generated enough tax liability to the state, the bill will actually allow them to take a discount but get those credits paid to them in cash up to a certain amount, up to $750,000 a year, if they're located in an enterprise zone. We have a lot of support for encouraging more renewable energy companies to come into Colorado. Our neighboring state of New Mexico and Oklahoma also have similar laws that allow for tax credits to be actually paid in cash at a discount rate. So instead of getting 100% of their tax credit under the bill I'm proposing, they would get 80% of their tax credit.
This year I ran a grid modernization bill. It didn't get out of committee, which I knew, but these ideas take time, and you got to start somewhere. You got to work and push these things. But the bottom line is we have a climate crisis. We need to go in that direction. I'm trying to work to do that.
And what we have a lot of wind generation and a lot of solar in the San Luis Valley. But east we have wind generation. We have a situation there where Inver Energy had applied for additional wind energy, and I'm not even sure how many towers involved, but it's about 60 kW. And this would actually, upon completion, that would be turned over to Black Hills, which services Pueblo. Well, the PUC has denied that request, and it's gone on. This has been a situation that's been going on for 3 or 4 years now, and the contracts have been placed out for the builder, and there's a lot been done on it.
There's our own bill, which we are working with the Colorado Nonprofit Association on, and that is a tax credit for endowment fund contributions to charitable organizations. It may not, on the surface, appear that it's a sustainability-related bill, but for us, the nonprofit sector is so important in making widespread progressive change happen that we want to encourage any kind of donations to, whether it's to the nonprofit itself or to their endowment fund.
The good is HB 1225, a bill that has been introduced by Representatives Rankin and Becker and sponsored in the Senate by Senators Donovan and Roberts. This bill is a constructive alternative to some of the other federal lands legislation we're seeing. It would assist local governments in federal land management processes. It would assist them in engaging. It gives grants and technical assistance from the state government and helps these local governments take full advantage of the existing opportunities to engage in federal land management. The ugly, which is, in our opinion, Senate Bill 39. It is a bill that would declare concurrent jurisdiction. This bill is a bit of a legal mess, and it creates, we believe, conflict with federal land managers and local governments, as well as potentially endangering firefighters and first responders with fights at incident scenes about who's in charge. House Bill 1159 is an in-stream flow tax credit bill sponsored by Representative Arndt and Senator Donovan. The bill extends the tax credit created in 2009 for in-stream flow donations. The tax credit is slated to expire this year if not reauthorized, but it also needs some other changes to probably be a successful program. Language in the original version has made this program somewhat unusable, and this bill would extend the tax credit and take the language out that's preventing it from being as useful as it could be. Representative McCann mentioned House Bill 1232. I want to mention a companion bill to that, House Bill 1236, introduced by Representative Winter. It's a tax credit for energy efficiency in commercial buildings and apartments. This would provide an incentive to commercial buildings that undergo residential upgrades and multifamily building owners who undertake these upgrades. It targets deep retrofits that meet the high standards of efficiency. There's 3 tiers of upgrades building owners can choose from with larger incentives for low-income properties. Senate Bill 8, Water Conservation and Land Use Planning. This is a Senator Roberts and Representative Vigil bill. It creates a voluntary training program for land use planners, landscapers, and local government staff to learn about water conservation tools. Linking the two is critical for long-term water conservation in the face of the growth we anticipate in our state. This is House Bill 1259, which would allow for the residential use of rain barrels. This bill is sponsored by Representatives Escar and Danielson, as well as co-sponsored in the Senate by Senator Merrifield. Colorado lags behind our western neighbors. Indeed, I think the whole rest of the nation. I think Colorado is the only state left where use of residential rain barrels is illegal. By allowing residents to have up to 2 rain barrels with a combined storage of 100 gallons, it's long been claimed by some that collecting rainwater would violate prior appropriation and Colorado water law. But recent studies show that this is not necessarily the case and that water does indeed eventually make it to the rivers.